Okay, so when I was in my 20s, I was pretty frantic about finding somebody who's going to be willing to marry me. And there's nothing more attractive than frantic, is there? I couldn't keep them running the other way fast enough, basically. It wasn't that I was really into, like, you know, the whole wedding thing and say yes to the dress or hope chests, which I actually knew people who were putting together hope chests. I had to ask my mom what that was. And it was that I felt like I had been cosmically excluded from love. Like I had been singled out by the universe, if that's a thing, from ever getting married. Which is an interesting notion to have when you're like 18 or 19 or 20 years old, because how would I know? I failed the astronomy class I took as a freshman, so I really didn't know anything about the cosmos, but I concluded that it had conspired against me. But after a couple years, in my late 20s, I did meet somebody, and I'll call him Martin, that was his name. And I loved him and he loved me, and we'd worked together, and he was with somebody else when we first met, and then they broke up and I just pounced on him and it totally worked. And we were together and it was great, and we were going to spend the rest of our life together. We went all over together. We just had the most wonderful time. And then one day he said he had something to tell me, and I thought he was going to tell me that we needed to bring our canoe on the camping trip we were going on, but he said, "I'm moving out." And I was floored. I couldn't believe it. I did not see it coming. I was just devastated. Not only that, he left me for this woman he worked with, who had a side gig as a psychic predicting the outcome of NFL games. So, those of you counting or keeping score, that's one for the universe, keeping a master ledger of women that'll never meet anybody to marry them, and one for a person who can accurately predict NFL games. I found out a lot more about her later from their coworkers, which gave me such delicious, vengeful delight. They are still together, though, living, I'm sure, a very miserable life with a lot of unresolved issues. Anyway, I went through a long period of time where I was by myself, and again, it was like, well, that was what the universe had decreed. So I was on my own, but I had a great job. I had tons of friends. I had actually a really good life, and I was really happy, which kind of makes it hard to explain why I decided to join eHarmony. And this was in February of 2008, and I had a lot of pressure from friends to like make an effort and stop. I had fake boyfriends. I'm dating somebody who lives in Nashville or lives somewhere else. I didn't really want anything to work out, so I had to sabotage it ahead of time. But I was like, what the hell, I'll join. But my real aim, and don't tell my friends this, was to destroy the eHarmony algorithms. And the reason I chose eHarmony is because it was formed by a Christian group. So I'm a liberal, progressive, pro-environment, pro-woman, pro-you-name-it person, and I wanted that to come through in this 155 question thing that you had to fill out. Because back then there was no swiping. I bet even eHarmony makes people swipe these days on people's faces, but thank God I got out in time before there was any swiping. I was able to post one picture of me in the distance with an arrow toward my head. And yes, that was my profile picture. So one of the questions I had to ask that I attempted to trip up was, what 3 things are you thankful for? And, I was going to go, family, friends, and health. But no. So I wrote Tito's handmade vodka, the separation of church and state, and fragrance-free laundry detergent. And then I hit submit, and off it went. And this was on Valentine's Day in 2008. And I hit submit, and I waited, and I waited. I thought there was going to be this, men flooding toward me, right? Like, there's so many other liberal men out there who went on eHarmony with the same objective, and we were going to beat it together. But no, I got nothing. I got nobody. And then my friends are like, that never happens. Everybody gets matched. There's something wrong. And I'm like, yeah, it's the universe. I already told you this. So anyway, finally I get a call from customer service, like an actual phone call from eHarmony customer service, asking me if I'm willing to expand my search circle from 50 to 500 miles. As if they can't find me anybody in Chicago, but maybe somebody in fucking Eau Claire, Wisconsin, or Moorhead, Minnesota would be more suitable for me. Unbelievable. Finally, though, I do get a match. And it's a guy named Andy, and he lives in Glencoe, which I kind of knew was fancy. And he liked the Grateful Dead, and he actually mentioned Bruce Springsteen, which is on my list of must-haves, even though I reduced my list of must-haves to somebody that was my height, which is 5'10". I didn't even think it was that unreachable. Andy said he was 5'9", and then I met him. And we chatted for a couple of weeks over the phone and texting and whatnot before I met him. Our first date was Leap Day, 2008, February 29th, and he had shrunk from 5'9" to 5'6.5", and that's where he stays today. 5'6.5". So the only real criteria I had, he lied to me. Unbelievable. But I really liked him, like really liked him. And he invited me to go next day up to Glencoe to meet his kids, and I knew you're not supposed to meet somebody's kids on a second date, but you know, they weren't my kids, so I thought, I'll meet them, we'll see how it goes. And I walk in the house the next day, and there's these three people who are like this, this, and this, and they're all lined up, and they shake my hand, and I'm like, it's like me at one of those pop-up dog adoption events where you didn't expect to go home with a dog, and then you're like trying to cradle 3 chihuahuas on your way to the car and figure out who's going to take each one. I felt like that was what would happen. I'm like, oh God, he's got children. They're cute. What am I going to do? So things got really serious really quick. And on our third date, Andy said, I'm going to ask you to marry me, but I'll wait so you don't think I'm kidding. And I said, oh, just fuck it, just ask me. Yeah, I'll say yes. So he's like, Marya, will you marry me? I'm like, yes. And then I thought, well, I better tell some of the people in my real life about this, because my parents lived downstairs from me in my 2-flat in Chicago, and I hadn't even told them I'd been on a date in more than 12 years. So I knew that would get a reaction. And then my friend Jane, who wanted to push me into this whole thing, like I hadn't told her I told her, like, oh, they couldn't find anybody within 500 miles, so good idea. And so I'm like, guess what? I got a match. I'm engaged. And she's like, it's been 2 weeks. And I'm like, that's right. This is what I'm doing. And I found out later there was quite the flurry of communication amongst my circle of friends that they needed to intervene somehow and stop this. But then they met him and they realized I was serious. And all was good. So we got married on August 30th, 2008, I think. Was that right? Of course I would know. Just quickly, I was like raised by wolves, okay? My parents were these sort of early hippies, and there was nothing like dinner at home. And when I was a single lady, I would have popcorn and red wine. I thought that was dinner. So there's these children, and I'm like, okay, Google, what do families eat for dinner? You know, it's like protein, starch, vegetable. So I'm like, we're literally following, I don't know if it was like, you know, Sesame Street's guide, you know, food triangle or whatever it was, but I like literally was following the internet on what to feed children. And then it turned out that my kids are Jewish, and very quickly I was told, what do you have in mind for Cassidy's bat mitzvah? I'm like, what's a bat mitzvah? And so I run into a friend of my oldest daughter's, a mother of her friend, and she's like, well, I know your mother-in-law reserved this hotel ballroom, whatever, over in Northbrook, so you're gonna have to rent buses. Does Cassie know what her theme colors are, or even what her theme is? You have to get the Pantone number of the theme colors and give it to the invitation lady. I hope you use Jill in Highland Park, she is so good, but if you don't get her the Pantone number, she's gonna guess, and you're gonna be unhappy when the invitations come. And I'm like, all right, okay, I better go home and talk to some people. So I'm like, I said, you know what? I'm going to suggest cookout as a theme. We have Hebrew National hot dogs, watermelon, a bouncy house in the backyard. All good, right? It ended up, it wasn't, I wouldn't call it a disaster of a party, but later on, after I picked them up at some of these parties, I mean, North Shore people, they do not half-ass these things. And I didn't half-ass it. I drove myself nuts putting this party on. But it was nothing compared to what really you're supposed to do for your kids. And Cassie was such a graceful young lady. She didn't tell me that no mom is making the centerpieces and nobody's only playing tunes off their iPhones, and everybody has DJs, everybody has dancers, everybody has this, everybody has that. Anyway, it was, I'm glad I didn't know what I was failing at until after I'd failed miserably, put it that way. In any event, it turned out that the universe hadn't automatically excluded me, which is a good thing. And now, when Andy says we have to talk, I don't get scared. I don't think he's going to say I'm leaving to go live in Flagstaff or Arizona with a two-bit hooker who claims she can predict NFL games. He probably wants to tell me about the black hole picture that just appeared, or something fantastically scientific or physics related, or something wonderful about a thought that he's had during the day. And we talk and we get along very well, and we enjoy our life, our little universe of our kids, my mom, our parents, our pets, and our happy life together in Wilmette. Thank you.